Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to My Deep Guide. Well, today we are going to take a look, not an in-depth look, just a general look at the update for the Boox platform, and the older devices like my Note Air 1 has received it finally, maybe about a month ago or something like that. The update 3.3.1, which is the latest update out there. But before we check it out, I just want to invite you to like and subscribe to the channel, because that really does help the channel out along a lot. And if you do like the work that I do, then please do check out the mydeepguide.com/shop and check out the My Daily Organizer, which is a hyperlinked PDF organizer file that can satisfy all of your yearly, quarterly, weekly, monthly, daily needs for your personal or professional life, or both at the same time or in different documents. You can find the MDO playlist link in the description down below to check out if that is something that interests you or not. And now let's check out the Boox update 3.3.1. Well, here it is, the update 3.3.1 on my Note Air 1 and also on my Nova Air 1. So it's finally rolling out to the older devices, which is a nice thing to see. So first things first, I'm gonna go through the all of the features and everything that's been listed as new. Now, in the meantime, since 3.0, there have been some other updates all over the place, and since the general Boox update system is changing so rapidly and constantly in many different ways, it's technically basically impossible for me to cover everything. So I'm going to try and cover the most basic things and innovations and what new features are there, and that's pretty much it. But if you have any specific questions, please do address them in the comments down below, and I'm going to collect them, and then in one of the upcoming question and answers series I will be answering those. Alright, so the first big thing that is an addition since the OS 3.3, I believe, or something like that, is that supposedly now you should be able to synchronize your reading data across different devices via the same Onyx Cloud user account. So what does that mean? Well, that means that you should, in theory, they at least say, you should be able to synchronize your progress, annotations, highlights, and handwritten notes in documents across different devices. So that should mean that I should be able to write on this document here, and it should synchronize on my Nova Air. By now you've probably noticed that I've been using language should, supposedly, and all that kind of stuff. And the reason behind it is that it's not exactly working as they say it does. So here's the thing. In order for the synchronization to work, there's like many prerequisites, and we need to kind of go over them. So the first one and most important one is that you need to be logged in to both devices on the same Boox account. Only works for Boox account, and you have to use the same method. So if you logged in via email, you have to log in on both devices via email, or phone, then you use both devices on phone. The second part that's also really important is that you have to use the same server on both devices. So as you can see, I am using both of those things on both of these devices. So those are the prerequisites that you have to keep in mind. And there's one final one, and that is a big one for me. And this is why this simply, even if it worked, it wouldn't be a good choice for me personally, but it would work for other people. And the synchronization itself is for the scan mode only. So if you are in directory mode, this will not work. You will not have the option to synchronize at all. This only works for the library, which means in scan mode. Now, where do you access the sync settings? Well, the first one is relatively easy, because when you just first start, you're going to have a little dot here, which is your breadcrumb trail to kind of navigate you along the new features. So you tap here, and then you will see little pop-up that explains nothing really. It just gives you some information, but it doesn't really explain anything. And then you have sync settings. Okay, so you go to sync settings and you have the option to turn it on. Okay, so I'm using this account. That's fine. So we are set up for synchronization. The same thing here. If I go over there, all right, same account set up, everything is fine. Okay, good to go, right? Well, not really, because let's open up the document that I haven't really started to sync. So let's go with this one here. You'll notice that we have these little new icons here. So there's a red circle here or a circle here, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So that is an indication, the same one like on the notes that you have for synchronization, if the document is synchronized with the account or not. One other prerequisite that's also important, vitally important, is that only the file with the same name and in the same location, meaning which collections or which, whatever they call them, shelves, is going to be in, only those are going to be synchronized. But I have that, so I am fine with that. I'm not in any bookshelf, and I'm in the root of my library in both of them, and it's the same document in the same place. Same name, same place. All right, okay. So if I first open a document that has never been synchronized or opened, something like this, and it opens up. Okay, fine. So now let's do, for example, I'm gonna make sure that my pen is in touch mode so that I can make some annotations or basically highlights here, because we want to test highlights, right? And then let's add, this is going to be my note for testing, right? So that's going to be updated. And let's add some scribbles, right? So we added some scribbles, and let's see here, let's go to the next page. And oh, there's no next page, there's only one page. All right, so that's what I got. That's what I did with my document. All right, I've made the change, and you can see that in the top corner we have the cloud synchronization. And if you tap on it, now it's going to say the sync function. It's very quick. The sync function has been turned off for this book. Please turn on the sync switch first. It took me 40 minutes to figure out where the sync switch is, simply because it is not mentioned anywhere, it is not shown anywhere, and yeah, you're just left to your own devices, and an average user has almost zero chance of finding where that is. Once you find it, it's fine. It makes sense. It's an easy thing and it's logical. But if you don't know where to look for it, I mean, the logical thing would be, okay, so somewhere within the document, because we're in the document, right? So within the document, let's see, settings, there's no synchronization settings, there's no switch anywhere, there's nothing here. And it's because it's not there. It's not in NeoReader. It's actually the synchronization switch is part of the library, not the document itself. And then you would think, okay, so then I can go to my sync settings, but there's nothing there either. All right, so then I can just long press on my document, but there's no sync settings here, there's no switch or anything. And only after a long time will you figure out that there is an additional tab that's been added to the options of the documents only in the library on the scan mode, not in the directory mode. And then you go to the sync, and there you have the sync switch that they've been talking about. And once that's turned on, this one is going to synchronize, right? Or it's supposed to synchronize. So those are the prerequisites that are needed in order to get this whole thing to even work. So now if I go into here and I tap in the middle and I go synchronize, now it's going to say, okay, cool, you can sync, and that's all fine. And that's okay, but normally up until now, this didn't work for any of them. So I have the same document here, and I genuinely don't know if it's going to work for it or not. I'm just gonna long press on it, and let's see if I turn on sync for it. Is it going to update or synchronize or do anything? I mean, where's the synchronize button for the library overall? How do I force synchronization in the library? Because if I go into here, I don't have any of the markups. It's the same document. I can go to the cloud thing. Come on. There we go. I can go to the cloud thing. Nothing. And they're simply behaving as if they have zero connection between them, yet I am using the same exact document with the same names in the same location in the library and using the same account. So I honestly don't know what is the prerequisite to actually make this work, but I've tried to follow all of the directions and figure it out, but it just simply doesn't work for me. And no, I don't have NetGuard on, so I'm not blocking the async process or ksync process, because that is the synchronization process for notebooks, and I'm pretty much sure that it's going to be the same synchronization process for the library as well. So if that's blocked, that would make sense, but I don't have that installed on either of them. In fact, I've uninstalled the NetGuard for either of them since I switched to the US server. I no longer care about that kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, theoretically, it should work, and it would be great if it actually worked, but clearly this feature needs to quite a bit more work to make it usable by the general public. And again, yet again, we see the difficulties that the Boox development team has with developing an easy to use user experience and user interface, because everything's all over the place. It's confusing. Yes, you figure it out. Once you figure it out, it makes sense and you can use it. But in order to figure out, it's not approachable. It doesn't make too much sense. Additional things regarding the library and NeoReader. Optimized page loading speed for some documents, so that's something that should be a little bit faster and optimized on some of the documents. I personally haven't really noticed that because it was really fast before, so yeah, I'll just have to take them at their word. And they say that they have fixed the issue of non-saving a brush preset. So occasionally, sometimes it happened for some users that if you would go into the document and you would go to your scribble bar, that the addition, when you add new brushes, that they wouldn't save. I personally haven't experienced that issue, but if you have, they say that the update 3.3.1 should resolve that issue. All right, now on to the notes or the notebooks, and there are several things that have been added. The first one is really heavily inspired by the Remarkable and Supernote, and that's basically adding of searchable tags or keywords. And the first thing is basically you can now select any of the words. So this is, what the hell am I writing? Let's try again. By the way, this is the Kindle Scribe pen. So yes, the button eraser works, and the eraser itself works on the Boox devices. So this is a test. Okay, and now if I go to the lasso tool, which is still so slow, you can select it, and now we have a new option, which is a tag. So now we can tag this, and now we can use either previous tags that I've had, and I can just use a keyword. So this is a keyword tag or a title or both of them, it doesn't matter. It works pretty much the same as you've probably seen it work on Remarkable. So now you do this, and then it looks the same as on the Supernote. So, you know, heavy inspiration from all of these. But this is actually a pretty cool addition to a notebook, and it's very useful, especially because it's easily searchable. So now when I have these things in my notebook, I can just go to search and automatically have tag or scribble options, right? So now in the tag option, I can choose which tag I'm looking for, and it's just showing me all of these things. So for example, keywords, if I want to just see the keywords, then I see this one and that one. Yeah, this is a test. This is test. And I go here. Okay, and I add it as a tag. And no, I don't want it to be that. I just want it to be a keyword, right? And now it should be just a keyword. So it's not a bug, it's just how it works, that it recognizes automatically the initial words and then it fills them in as a tag. So you have to delete that, I believe, because now the search should show, when I go to keyword, I should have, what? There we go. So we have test and this. Okay, yeah, now it works. So it's a little bit, it takes a little bit getting used to, but essentially it does work, but it is a bit clunky. But okay, so without any filter, it will just show you pretty much all of the things that you have, and then, what? And then you can actually choose which tag you want to use. So, all right, not ideal, but at least you have it and it's searchable, and if you are able to get used to it, then it's a pretty good thing. So that's a valuable addition. Now the next thing that's also been added is that you can now insert attachments. So you can insert files directly and they appear like this. And then you can insert files, individual files, and each individual file can be up to 20 megabytes in size. And I believe that these should be able to export when you export the notebook, or synchronize it, not export. I'm not sure that it exports, but if you synchronize with another device, I think that these documents kind of fly along with it. Haven't had the time to test that out yet, unfortunately, so that's something that I'll have to test out at a later point. But at this point, at least, you have a link to a file that you can directly open up from your notebook, which is a good thing. And the important thing is that it's not just linked to a file, but it actually contains the file. So the notebook is referencing a file. And the next thing that you can do is you can add links to the page within the same notebook or to an external website. And that's basically here in insert, so you can link to a page, but it works exceedingly disappointingly. First of all, you can only link to a page within the same notebook. Second of all, even that is not implemented properly, because here it is. So if you don't know automatically which page number you want to link to, how are you supposed to find it? There's no page preview, there's no nothing. So this is just not complete. This is like the bare bones of that implementation. And to make it even worse, once it's made, let's just show you how that works, because it's just not good. So insert a link to a page, and let's say that I want to link to page number 2. Okay, and now I need to find, or basically I tap, or oh, you need to find where it appeared. So it appeared over here. Good luck finding it, because it's super small, and that's it. That's your you have move and you have delete. The link doesn't have a label. You cannot select a portion of text and make the whole box like this be a link to a page. Instead, you have this little thing. And to make it even worse, when you tap on it, then it just tells link to page 3, and then you can delete it, or you can go link to page 3 And in this case, that was that one, and the one that I made was the new one, link to page 2, and then you go there. So very, very rudimentary implementation of linking, and they can point to a web page and then it opens up in your default browser, which is fine, that works. So not great, not even in the same league as how the implementation of these linking functionality is and has been done on the Supernode. Like this is very, very basic and would need a lot more work to make it actually properly usable. Another thing is that the recordings now support markings, adding of markings or bookmarks or tags or whatever, time slot, time marks. And that's clearly inspired by the MatePad paper. And it's again the insert thing. So if I go into the recorder and it now is recording, right? You will see this little flag here. And this is where you start adding flags. Now don't be confused, you haven't added a flag yet. So he says like no marks, and you can add only up to 20 marks into one file. Why they have that limitation, have absolutely no idea. But if you have like a 3-hour meeting, you might have need for more than 20 marks. But that's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is that while we're taking notes here, right? So I want to add a mark, and I added the mark, and I want to rename it because the meeting is ongoing and I want to name it while I'm doing this. I can't. There's nothing you can do. It just goes mark 1, and then you go mark 2, and then you go mark 3. I mean, are people starting to implement only the bare bones and below minimum viable product? And I don't get it. I really don't get it. This is becoming a standard now, and I don't like it because MVP should not be a standard, and proof of concept is not like a final release kind of thing, especially not after 3.3.1 and after such a long wait. This is just not complete. Okay, when you go into this one, so now he's playing, I have it turned down, the volume. Now you can rename, right? So now you can go here and then you can jump to the mark and then you can rename that mark, which is fine. But this is a completely unnecessary step for a tool like this. And if you're going to implement this, why not implement it fully? Because this way you're absolutely forced to just go, you have one obligational step to go through this, listen to the words, remember which part of the meeting it was, and then maybe type it in or whatever it may be that you are recording. So it's such a simple feature, yet it's incomplete. And when I see these things, when it's something so basic and it's not complete, well, yeah, that's not something that I'm very tolerant of. And the final bigger update of the notebooks is the whole handwriting recognition. And you can see that we now have a proper preview lane, which is really cool. And then you can use the original option, which was it before. You can reflow, which was the original reflow as well. But you now have the option to copy the text to the clipboard. You can insert the text as a text box. You can dynamically change the language that is being used, something that Supernode can't do. So this is something that would be a very, very beneficial thing to add to the Supernode. And you can also export this when it's converted, and now it's going to export the whole thing, so not just one page but all 3 pages, and it's going to export it as a single page PNG, bitmap PDF, vector-based PDF, or a text file. Now when you export as a bitmap, for example, and it goes there, and then I jump to it. Yeah, let's go there. So we have the PDF. There we go. So this is how it converts, and it converts a lot better. It's far, far more accurate than what it was before. So one of the things that I don't like about it is that when you export as a PDF, only the text, it exports basically 1 page per notebook page. So that means this was my notebook page 1, this is my notebook page 2, and this is my notebook page 3. This is in theory fine, but in reality this is not how you probably want to use this, simply because it would be nice to have the other option. And luckily we do have another option as well, because when you export as a text file, then you get exactly what I was talking about, which is all of it is linked here. But again, we do have these formatting options. It's not reflowing, so you do have to do a lot of editing afterwards. So it's better, and you do have easier time, at least than with the PDF, to edit it down to a readable document format, but it still leaves quite a bit to be desired to kind of have as a final thing. However, seeing where it came from and where it's now, it's a significant improvement, but the Supernote version is still quite a bit better, with the exception that the Supernote version should definitely have the option to dynamically change the handwriting recognition, not for the notebook, but for the recognition itself. I think that would be a really good point, or maybe even for a page, if somebody would like to do that as well. Those are all things that would be interesting. But back to Boox and its handwriting recognition. A lot improved than from before. So one of the problems that I had from update 3 and 3.1, the handwriting recognition just went downhill and it just went really, really bad. No longer a problem. The original problem of the update 3 with the disappearing notes, that has been long gone since 3.1 or 3.2. That's been fixed, and I've never had that issue before. And also, you don't have to be logged in if you don't want to, and you will see all your notebooks and all that things. So that's all good. And yeah, the 3 thing is that much better preview of the handwriting recognition and welcome addition of the added options of how you can use and share and what you can do with the handwriting recognition on all from where it is. Definitely could use some more improvements, but a good direction where it's going currently. And then finally, we have some system and app updates and things like that. So one of them is regarding the push read. And in push read, you can now subscribe to RSS channels for those who are interested in that. Then you also have the options in the system. Let's see, where would that be? System display. You have the ability to change the fonts, not just the size, but you can change the fonts that are used in the system. The preview is not that great, so it's a bit of a gamble what you're gonna get, and each time you change it, it requires a system restart, so something to be aware of. The Onyx virtual keyboard style has been updated, and it has a couple of more options, and for that you go into languages input, and then you can check it in the Onyx keyboard options here. So that's something that you can change. Then we also have the updated system gesture for the bottom, that it can be a navigation bar, like a traditional Android navigation bar, or it can be just these gestures as we've grown used to have them, and yeah, these kind of things. It's also been added that in the app optimizations, the app optimization will now automatically force the app to follow the system orientation direction. So it's not going to override the app orientation, is not going to override the orientation of this one. So finally starting to work properly. And also the e-ink panel in the, so for example, if I go into YouTube, right? And then I set up my, okay, now it's taking some time, quite some time. Come on, wakey. There we go. What's going on with you, dude? That's super slow. I'm gonna have to see what is going on. Is this, because this is not normal. This is not how it used to be before 3.3.1. This is ridiculously slow. redonkulously slow. Ooh, all of it is like super, super slow. Is it the Bluetooth that's bugging you? Nope. Oh, good lord, this one's completely bogged down. I don't know what's going on. I haven't had that experience yet. Maybe I should restart it and then it will clear up. But what I wanted to show was that if you're in the app and then you set up your screen refresh mode and everything like that, that is now saved as part of the app optimization. So that means that if I go to Edge, holy moly, everything is super slow now. Something is bogging it down. So clearly it needs a restart to kind of clear up things. But the e-ink center is, you can see that I opened up another app and it automatically changed these settings. And in addition, you can just go to app optimization here, that's from before, and adjust all of these things. But the thing that's been added is that the e-ink panel adjusts the optimization settings of the current app, and that's a really, really good thing to see as well. Well, okay, so that's the update. Obviously, it brings a lot to the table, and one of the biggest ones was supposed to be that finally you can actually synchronize data, reading data between the libraries. But the way it has been implemented, first of all, it doesn't work for me. I was completely unable to make it work, even though I followed all the directions and everything, it just doesn't work. Second of all, it doesn't work in the directory mode, it works only in scan mode. That I can partially understand, because one is a file browser, the other is just a library functionality, and fine, I can get on board with that, not too happy, but can get on board with that. But the way that it's implemented, like finding the sync thing and enabling this, enabling that, the guide towards it is just so bad that it even for somebody who's an experienced Boox user, it took a very long time to even figure out what are you talking about, what switch, where, like that's just not good. So a novice stands absolutely no chance to figure that out on their own, and to make things worse, there's no user manual that actually covers this. So what are they doing? I don't know, but they need to kind of hit the brakes and rethink things and figure out where they want to go next, because this whole thing of just jumping around like 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, it's all over the place. And right now, I don't think that they have a direction at all. It's just like, oh, Supernote and Remarkable are doing that. Let's add tags and let's add the marks for the audio files. Just MVP them, like the minimum thing that we have, and just make it like that. Oh, Supernote has links. Well, we'll add links, and then it's gonna say that we also have links, but come on. It's just, you can't even see the page that you're linking to, and yeah, I don't know. I appreciate the functionalities that are trying to be implemented here, and maybe the direction where it's going, but the actual skill level at which these are being implemented, and most importantly, the UI/UX user experience is equally bad, if not worse, than before. So that's not good at all. The thing that is good, really, really good, is the handwriting recognition functionalities and the functionality itself. It's far more accurate, it's far more usable. All of the options that are added, it's finally way, way more usable. Not as good as on the Supernote, not really sure about. No, Remarkable's not there yet. Remarkable's worse than this. So in my mind, it would be Remarkable, Boox, and then Supernote, how the handwriting recognition has been implemented in the platform overall. But definitely an improvement. So yeah, the summary of the update 3.3.1, I'm not excited. I should be excited about all of these things, but I'm not. And I'm growing to be more and more apprehensive over the next updates when Boox is concerned, because I don't know what are they going to change, and I don't know how are they going to change it, and where are they going to mix up the user interface, the settings elements, and all of these kinds of things. It's just making me a little bit more apprehensive. Each time there's an update, I'm like, okay, what now? I'm just being honest. That's my personal feeling. Now, objectively, I think that this is a valuable update because it adds valuable functionalities, especially if you somehow are able to make that reading data actually synchronize. Please let me know down in the comments down below if somebody has it working and if you know what it is that I'm doing wrong so that I can't get it to work, because I'm really curious to see how it actually works. So overall, I would give this like a C minus. If I'm being very generous, it would be a C minus type of an upgrade. It's like, it translates like, I see what you're trying to do, but the execution is not really that good and there's a lot of room for improvement. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe and ding the notification bell in the description down below. Also, let me know in the comments, what do you think about the update 3.3.1? Which device are you using and what your experience has been, and how do you feel about the upcoming Boox updates and the overall Boox update, let's say, reputation or something like that. What's your feeling about the Boox updates? I told you mine, so I'm curious to hear about yours as well. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye.